What?
Welcome back to Packernet. JJ Lahey, Ryan Schlipp, and Jake Schyvinck. And of course, the burning question on all our minds is who is going to be the derailer of the week? Which listener is going to distract us so much that we have to bestow this great honor and this title upon them? We're going to kick off today with the question: who are you worried about right now? Watching training camp, we're gearing up for the full-blown preseason gambit here. This can be players, or if you want to, instead of nominating an individual player, you can pick a couple players who are in a position battle with each other and say, I'm just collectively worried that these two or these three guys are not going to produce one good starter at this position, if that's how you feel about it. And Jake, why don't you go first? Because, well, gosh darn it, you just have such a lovable face.
So when you initially posed this question in the chat, I didn't think about Packers. I was more thinking about how much Cam Jurgens should be worried week one with Kenny Clark and Carl Brooks bearing down on him. I'm worried about Tua against Green Bay on Thanksgiving night because it's going to be a little too cold for him. And I'm worried about J.J. McCarthy's first start against the Packers defense, which I think we'll probably see maybe next year, maybe December 29th. But, one of those, I think we'll see that. But
well, aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves here, though? Because the Bears, did you see that offensive line they trotted out there yesterday?
Did you see their whole offensive line is hurt right now?
Pretty much, yeah.
So that could be a problem.
Yeah, that's
sources are telling me.
Four humans I've never heard of in my life, and I study the NFL and the NFC North. Like, I was shocked that I didn't recognize any of the names because I'm like,
well, isn't Tevin hurt again?
Yeah,
they're all hurt.
I mean, that's his whole thing. Like, he's a great football player, but he's hurt 70% of the time, and he's already hurt again.
Yeah,
crazy.
You know who's about to be hurt behind that offensive line?
Yeah, sources are telling me Caleb is running for his life right now.
Oh, man. Could you imagine if Caleb has, like, just one of those meltdown games like he did against, what was it, Notre Dame? He's running, panicking, and throwing, like, 4 or 5 picks. That would just be the greatest. That would be it. Like, Super Bowl, whatever, but that would be nice.
We thought Justin Fields ran a lot in Chicago, but that was by choice. Caleb might not have a choice.
That's
right.
We got too old for this in the chat. He says gum's gotten mintier lately. Have you noticed? And then we've
not a big gum guy anymore, but it seems like they last longer. You know, I know when I was a kid, you get about 3 good chews, and then it's gone.
Well, my wife introduced me to Mentos. I just had never even tried them. The only thing I just thought their sole purpose for existing was to put them in a bottle of Coke. I never actually considered eating them.
Right. Yeah, they had the obnoxious commercials for a long time, and now they just go in giant 2 liters.
The worst commercials out there are that toilet paper brand with the bears, whichever one.
Oh yeah,
I hate. It's
pretty rough. That's rough.
Wow.
I can't even think which.
There are worse ones, but I don't want to go down that path. Hygiene type stuff, you know.
That could be a whole podcast, I think.
And unfortunately, it actually worked. My wife was we would watch it. She was so disgusted by these commercials, but now she bought it. She's like, it's actually really good. I kind of like it. Like, how dare you support that nonsense? I'm not saying the name of it, but you might know it.
Down.
Yeah.
My wife and I sat down and had a conversation about which toilet paper brands our family was going to support based on how annoying their commercials were. So we picked the brand that we weren't even sure if they ran commercials. We were like, all right,
Joe. We're not going there, Joe.
Joe, I'm not going to pin your comment.
You're right, but we're not going there.
Right. They're terrible. I think that I have whined to Ryan about that at least 3 or 4
I get that a lot. Like, borderline sounds like people aren't going to support the show anymore. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I cannot make it stop. I don't know what to do.
There's also a deodorant one that runs sometimes where it starts out with the sound of somebody sniffing an armpit and then gagging.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I went to school for advertising and PR, and they never had any classes for us on how to gross out your customers so much that they will somehow get tricked into buying your
I feel like they're
products.
going with that whole purple elephant thing, just throwing you off with the craziness. I'm sure you know about the purple elephant, right? And the advert, no?
I think
Okay.
so.
I don't remember.
Well.
Wasn't that like just the whole point was just to get people to talk about it?
Yeah, it's an advertising thing. I forget. It was a famous, popular advertisement guy. He wrote a book on it, and I think there was actually commercials that actually featured a purple. But the whole point is just like you see it, and you're like, "What the heck is that?" As opposed to advertisements being like, "I'm just going to go do something else real quick."
I feel like that's more effective when you're the only one doing it. But when there's like 50 brands that are all doing it, then it just becomes
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's just like doing it now, and then my wife goes and pays them. So now it's just going to keep working. It works, so they're going to keep doing it. So we're just going to have to suffer.
Yeah.
the comment section right now is
It's blowing up, man. We love
I'm
this.
enjoying this.
Every time we get into like dirty armpit talk, man, people go crazy.
There are definitely worse ads. There was one that lasted a long time.
I'm not reading this one out loud. Sorry to the audio only
Joe.
listeners, but I'm pinning this on screen so you can read it.
It sounds like the audio listeners should be viewing on YouTube if you want to see.
Yeah,
some
come
of
on,
these
you
comments.
got to do
know,
it, man.
You
Just
got to pop
make
over
the jump.
here.
Yeah,
That's the deal.
Oh yeah. By the way, there was I think somebody called in on Packernet After Dark like 2 weeks ago and asked like, "Hey, what the heck is up with this derailed thing?" Because it sounds like there's people actually dropping in questions live. How can I participate in that? It's on the YouTube channel.
yes.
It's also on X, but I think you're gonna have the best experience probably on YouTube.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So it's what
Joe!
youtube.com at Packernet, and we usually do it Monday nights, 7:00 Lambo time,
Yeah.
and sometimes we take a week off. Joe with the $10 dono.
Yes.
I would not normally endorse this point that he's trying to make, but because it's a super chat,
Yep.
I will definitely read it.
Got to honor it.
Fire Onders, he says, love the pod. Thanks, guys. At Joe Pack Go. That's a great handle. Hold on.
Can I say, Joe, thank you for throwing $9.99 this way instead of trying Tampax. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
We like
just give
that.
it to us.
We
Don't
like
give it
that.
to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
If you ever get that urge, you're watching
Go.
those deodorant or Tampax commercials, and you're like, I think I need to send them my money. Send it over here.
I was not
We'll
following
protect you.
Joe Pack Go on X. So if, like me, you guys were not following him, go follow him right
Yeah.
now. Like I just
Good
did.
call. Good call.
Thanks, Joe.
That's an auto follow, by the way. If you drop a dono and your X handle, auto follow. Done.
There you go.
Here's a $1 super chat from at real Donald Trump.
Needs more followers. Please follow
He
me.
doesn't have enough. Megalod. I know what your name is, but I'm gonna say Megalodon G. Can we get back
Nice.
on topic?
Really
or has the
good.
topic been
Really
derailed?
That's why JJ's the host. Well done there. That was this is saving us a little.
Yeah. I would have just not noticed and just read it off.
Yeah, but like, what's Megla? Oh no.
Too old for this says, I love the Xavier Worthy ad about speeding. Jordan Addison needs to hear it. Here's the thing about Jordan Adderall. I don't think that people have remembered that this was his second high-speed infraction since getting drafted by the Vikings. Like, we just glossed over the fact that
Yeah.
he did it like 2 weeks into being a Viking and then did it again this year, and everybody
Got a
just...
Dewey.
We need to have a seminar for these rookies.
There's a rumor.
first
I
time-
don't know how true, but if the Vikings are saying if he does it again, they could release him.
They're not going to release a first-round pick, even a crappy first-round pick like...
I'm just saying it's
Addison.
it's a rumor floating around out there. That's all I'm saying. He better be real good this year, because if he's kind of mid and then goes and gets a Dewey next year, I don't know. Might happen. It's not like their first round. It's not like their first round players do anything, anyways. They end up cutting their first round corners like yearly. It's like an annual tradition because they suck.
Yeah, right.
It's true.
Well, I did a video when Rodgers finally officially moved on. I did like a video. It was like an office themed like tribute to Aaron Rodgers, and there was a clip kind of toward the end of it with Rodgers doing this like kind of sincere, sad looking smile, sort of as he like pats a Viking on the back. And the Viking was Jeff Gladney. And
Yeah.
I think after I put the video out, Jeff Gladney tragically passed away. And so now like that scene, like every time I go back and rewatch that little clip pops up at the end, and I'm just like filled with all this sadness, even though it's a Viking. Like, dude,
I always like, I don't know how to comment on that necessarily, but it's like they have really bad luck in a lot of areas for a lot of reasons. And again, it's like it's such a touchy subject. I don't know how to exactly say, but that's crazy that they've had tragic situations like that happen more than one time in a short span of time, like potentially really good football players too. It's just, I don't know. Again, it's so touchy. You don't even want to talk about it, but it's crazy and it's tragic, and it's just overall just awful what that team has been going through the last however long for a lot of reasons. Like things are just going very wrong.
Well, the other thing is that one positive reputation that the Vikings do have is for being an organization that does put a lot of effort into taking care of their players.
Sure. Yep.
I think it. I don't want to say the name I think it is because I might be wrong. I don't want to, besmirch some innocent person's reputation. But one of their players, it was a front seven defensive player, like 18 months ago, had like a mental breakdown, and there was like a 24-hour police standoff outside the guy's house. I'm not going to say the player I think it is because I don't want to be wrong about that. But and I remember the Vikings a couple weeks later releasing some information, not about like what was going on with his mental state, but just like, hey, here's our care plan for this guy to ensure that he can get the psychological and medical help that he needs and get his life back together. So, to your point, I don't think they make all the best decisions in who they bring in, but I do value that they make an effort to take care of their guys once they're in there. And the chat has dropped a name in there a couple times, and that is the person I thought it was. Yep. But I just don't want to say it in case we're all collectively wrong. And then
it is kind of hard to. I mean, a lot of people get mad at me because I spend so much time trashing the Bears, and they're like, "What about the Vikings?" Because I think most Packer fans dislike the Vikings more. I just struggle with it. Their fans don't bother me. They know that they suck. They know that it's going to be a rough year. Like you said, I think they're the ownership seems to do a pretty good job. Their head coach, I think, is a really good head coach. Defensive coordinator, we'll see. I think he's talented. I don't know necessarily that I care for him, but aside from maybe their GM not doing the best job, they're a respectable organization. Like you said, they take care of their guys. They pay their players. I forgot who it was. Oh, it was who was their older wide receiver? He went to a new team recently. Yeah, remember when they gave him a pay raise? They just gave him a pay raise. Just out of, like, what are you doing? Like it wasn't the thing that needed to happen. It was just like, you're way better than the contract you have. We're going to give you a bump, and they just did it. So anyway, we shouldn't spend all this time praising the Vikings. I'm just saying I struggle a lot with hating on that team, and they're going to be bad. So it's like, what am I supposed to say about them? They know it. So yeah, Vikings suck. There you
go. We're behind on some questions, but I did want to highlight a comment from Garrett. Jake needs a backdrop of the kid from Family Night who caught the 3 balls.
That was sweet.
Are you saying that it's because Jake has 3? Oh, never mind. Anyways, catching up on some questions here. Strength of record. Do you think everyone can get their touches in this offense? If not, who will be left out? Well,
there's an easy answer.
Define everyone. Is it like everyone who is deserving?
Makes the team.
If it's everyone who is deserving, I still think the answer is probably somebody's going to get left out because we have 4 wide receivers who are definitely deserving and 2 tight ends and somewhere between 1 and 4 running backs who all deserve touches. Somewhere between 1 and 4. The number is probably 2, but it's somewhere between 1 and 4.
Yeah, I would just need more specificity of what we're talking about. I mean, because if you think about it, you're going to have like your is it going to be like the top 3 wide receivers and then a big drop to Dontavian Wicks? Or is it going to be like those 4 guys and then a drop to Bo Melton?
Wide receiver.
The only reason I say that is that's how it was aligned. Like, if you look at the family night, it was, you had your top 3, Reed, Romeo, Christian, and Wicks was way down. So, and that again, it might have just been the way they did it that time. In a different practice, they do something else. But that is kind of a question. Is it going to be the top 3? Is it going to be the top 4? That kind of a thing. I don't really know. I doubt like it's going to be an even split with Bo. So I don't think he's going to be on that tier.
Yeah, I think my guess would be the 4 receivers, both tight ends, and then probably Jacobs and Lloyd would be my guess.
Yeah, the running back is tough.
I think those are the 8.
I think there are 4 running backs that I think we all want on the team, and I think the Packers want to keep all 4 too.
Yeah.
Now, there's definitely going to be a lot of fans out there saying, "No, there's only 3. Cut AJ Dillon," despite the fact that he cost like $12 against our cap.
I don't think Wilson. I don't think there's enough
what
space.
they want to do, right?
I would say Dillon gets, especially early, he's going to get a lot because I think the Packers
carries in the playoffs for us last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying with I think Jacobs, Dillon, and Lloyd are all going to be ahead of him. I just don't think he's going to get a lot of touches. I do think Dillon, especially early, is going to get a lot because he's the guy. I don't. Yeah. Well, this kind of goes to, if we ever circle back to the original question that started this. I don't want to elaborate too much, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much confidence I have in Dillon. There's a lot of hype around Dillon. I watched the guy play, and I'm just not seeing what everybody else is saying they're seeing. That's all I'll say.
AJ Dillon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just guys are going to be left out, randomly each week. I mean, that's just how it's going to be. I think I think all 4 receivers will have multiple big games this year, health willing. And I think both tight ends are going to have big games this year. I think when Musgrave has big games, it's going to be, 20, 22 yards of reception would be my guess, right? And Kraft is going to be more of the chain mover, catch, 6 for 70 or something like that. So, and yeah, the running back part of the equation, I think it'll be interesting how much both catch passes. I think that's going to be the most interesting of all this to watch.
I do think it's going to be, very Josh Jacobs heavy is what I think is probably the plan.
Because I think they want to see, like we're,
right.
This is a kind of almost essentially a 1-year type of thing where it's like, all right, if you're going to stick around a while, we need to see it and, and let the rookie kind of, get up to speed a little bit more while we have, what has been a workhorse for the Raiders. So
they want Jacobs to be Aaron Jones, but not as fragile. In other words, we want you to be him, but we want to put more on your shoulders. I don't want to have to pull you for an entire half of a game and put Dillon in to lighten your workload. Like, you are that dude. We'll relieve you once in a while, but you need to be the guy that we can just hammer over and over again. And with that, it's like I feel like he's going to get the lion's share. Dillon's going to be largely the backup. I honestly don't know we see a huge amount of Marshawn Lloyd. That may change as time goes on. I think there's going to be a lot of expectation. I just don't think this year it's going to be Lloyd. I think next year, Marshawn Lloyd, because I don't think Dillon comes back. I think next year he takes a big step. I feel like this is borderline redshirt for Marshawn Lloyd. He's going to get kind of like Emmanuel Wilson carries.
I think it depends. I think if, we start to see 2023 Jacobs still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this offense, it's like October, November, and it's kind of like, man, just this running game, there's got to be something here. They're like, all right, we got to get the spark plug that we believe he is in there. So if it gets stale, I think that's where Lloyd comes in. I agree. I think the first at least 6 to 8 weeks, you probably won't see a whole lot of him.
Yep.
But it's going to kind of depend on how much, as we said, how much Jacobs can shoulder the load.
I was on somebody's podcast last week and was asked about fantasy and which players should you be targeting in fantasy, and I said the list begins and ends with Jordan Love.
Yeah,
nobody else is going to be a safe bet. The Packers are going to spread the ball around so much, you're going to be miserable trying to play anybody not named Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're in a best
only
ball
other-
league, that's different. But if you're like,
Yeah.
the traditional thing, it's going to be.
The only thing I added, because I was doing a fantasy thing too, and I said the same thing. There's so much distribution. Just go for the quarterback. The only thing I added is, and I don't know because I don't follow fantasy. I don't know where average draft position is for a lot of these guys, but I would be targeting Musgrave probably a lot because I'm guessing he's not being touched at all, and I genuinely think he could take a massive leap this year. I think he's going to be probably the most undervalued of all of our guys if I had to bet.
Garrett wants to know: is this offense good enough for Love to get 5,000 yards passing? I mean, he got close last year. I'd say probably. I was surprised.
Let's check real
think-
quick.
80.5%.
I think Rodgers either never cracked 5,000 or only did it like once or twice. He got real close. He was like 4,900 some, like a bunch of times.
I don't think he did.
It's crazy. I got to go back to 2023 now because we got 2024 grades already.
Yeah, because of the
preseason.
amazing.
Game. It makes
Hall
me
of
so
Fame
happy.
game.
Yeah, no.
I watched five plays and I was like, man, I forgot how trash preseason football is. Like, these guys suck so bad. I'm not watching this.
Yeah, 0 for Rodgers in terms of 5,000.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Rodgers was not a big yards guy. He had a lot of touchdowns and whatnot. He wasn't like a 5,000 yard guy. It is kind of a stretch for Jordan. He had 41.
Yeah, 4,100. So,
but that's with like
82%.
5 or 6 games, kind of being goose.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
but
let's.
I think there's
I wanna
another
look at
part of
something
this,
here.
right, why Rodgers didn't get to that number. Because there were a lot of games where they were like, this game's out of hand quickly, where you have like 220 yards passing and we're up 28-7. And it's like, we don't need to force the issue a lot more.
I think the last time Rodgers had a
there's a
400
lot
yard
of
passing
chasers.
game was like 2020 or 2021.
Yeah. When you look at the 5,000 yards passing list, there's just a lot of like, you look at the team they're on, there were a lot of chasers on this. There are a lot of chasers on the list. Like, there were a lot of Drew Brees Saints teams that were like, yeah, we got to score 45 or we're not winning. Matt Stafford did it once. He was Jameis Winston did it. That Buccaneers team chased all the time. Like, and Herbert is rookie, like as rookie.
I just did the math on it. Jordan Love between week 9 and 18 threw an average of 266.6. If you multiply that by 17 games, it's 4,500 yards.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but he's still a little shy. But again, if you get a healthy Christian Watson all year, that's huge, especially for yardage. Musgrave, same thing. We didn't really get the best of him until he got hurt. I think it's possible, but I would bet no if I was putting money on it.
However, if you're playing maybe 3 playoff games,
Sure. If you want to,
fair.
yeah.
I guess, yeah, if you include that, that's possible.
So Megalodon G has a couple guys that he's worried about. So since this was the topic du jour, let's get back. So he says he's worried about Josh Jacobs, and he also asks if we are concerned about Eric Stokes. Jake, you declined to tell us who you were actually worried about on our
That's
team.
not my fault.
So I'm skipping you,
fault.
and we're going to Ryan now. It's Ryan's turn.
We took a right turn headed to I don't know where. Pretty quickly, so.
Got
I
off the
don't
rails
know.
quick.
I
We
don't
even
know.
did that. We got
5 minutes in. We have more people watching than we ever have.
yeah,
watching
it's
the
pretty
fight.
out of
So we
control.
probably should do
And-
things.
and
We haven't started yet.
Only
By the
Jake-
way,
Only Jake has tried to answer the question.
Can I say I'm also worried about if Noah Lyles can do the golden 100 and 200? Does that count as well? Also worried about that. It's hard without a preseason game to say I'm worried about stuff because it's just there's so much like fluff that people put out from like camp. This guy's doing great. This guy's doing great, and every fan and some fans are just kind of like, man, do we have like any bad players? How are we cutting this roster down? Like that's kind of where we get to a little bit, especially with rookies. So yeah, it's hard to be super worried, but yeah, I think. Do you want me to go?
Oh, I can
I'll go.
manage. Don't worry.
Do you want me to go? I'll go.
No, it's Ryan's turn.
what are we
you
doing?
forfeit your
Ryan's
turn.
Okay, that's fine.
You forfeit
Just
your
making
turn.
sure. Just making sure I was talking, so I did.
just tell me when we want to get started here. You guys keep.
Go ahead.
No,
Figure
I
it
want
out.
you to, and I want Jake to quit interrupting. Your turn.
I'll mute myself. Hold on.
Women, bunch of women. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to GBP Daily. I saw that he gave us a shout out on social media. I have a feeling that has a lot to do with why we have way more people tuned in than we ever have. All right. So Megalodon G says, you guys concerned about Eric Stokes? As of right now, no. I think he's actually been quite good. I think we get at least as much value as Valentine. Obviously, fingers crossed that you get that elite potential that we all saw in him. I don't know that I see that, but as of right now, am I worried? No, I think he's looked pretty good. I think you could probably answer the original question in a couple different ways. I already mentioned A.J. Dillon. I think one of the ways is worried about him as a player. I don't worry about him in terms of, man, if he's not good, we're in trouble, because I think we're perfectly fine with Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd. But I'll just say I'm worried for him because I watched him and he does not look very good. I didn't think he looked good on family night at all. He had one nice run, and even that annoyed me because it was a wide open hole, and it's just like, go. Like it's like he almost hit the blocker, and there's a huge, like, why are you so slow in processing? I don't understand. He just looked like the same guy that he's always been, and I think when you get the talent, and Marshawn Lloyd looks so quick and so elusive, and his body control is so good on some of those catches. You watch him catch and twist, and he lands and just takes off, and I feel like come next year, I just don't see the point. I really don't, unless, like you said, Josh Jacobs has a 2023 year, Dillon is dirt cheap. Maybe we go Lloyd Dillon as the 1-2. I don't know, but I would be worried.
Class though.
Okay, well, yeah.
Very good. It's going to be very good. Yeah.
That's exciting. I love watching running backs.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, a lot of different ways you can answer the question. Who are you worried about? I would say Dillon, from the standpoint of who am I worried about losing their job? That's the guy.
Well, I'll just say I'm getting a little tired of the kicker question, because a lot of people are up in arms about, hey, this kicker missed some kicks and this other kicker missed some kicks. And like half the training camp reports that I'm seeing about any kicking being done at any point is, another botched snap. They missed that, but that was a really low snap. Can we get somebody in Green Bay, Wisconsin, who can snap a football, a long snapper, a center? I don't care. Can we lock up one of those? I'm tired of having a center who can't snap and a long snapper who can't snap. This is so many years of just garbage snapping at both those spots, and I'm just tired of it. And why is Matt Orzech still here?
They brought him back.
He's still here. We cut Peter Bowden and then brought him back.
Yep.
We just keep running this crazy train through here of long snappers who can't snap. We had a tight end as a long snapper for a year and then decided, oh, you know what? Actually, we don't want him either. I'm sick of the snapping problems. How hard is it? Like, when you watch college football, do you see guys who are just incapable of snapping the football? Not too often. And then apparently in the NFL, it's just too much to ask the Green Bay Packers to find one long snapper or a center who can snap. I'm sick of that.
I will say, too, I think if Greg Joseph wasn't in camp, I don't know that there would be any questions about Anders. I would borderline say everybody be excited. Like, dude, have you seen how good he looks? He had that one bad day. Every other day, he's hitting every single kick. But Greg Joseph has missed like 2 kicks the entire camp, so it makes Anders look bad. But I honestly think they're both doing a great job, especially since you got to remember, too, like Greg Joseph has like a 93% hit rate right now, something to that effect, which would be one of the top in all of the NFL last year. But they're also mostly kicking from 40 and 50 yards. I mean, they're not doing a lot of chip shot kicks, including the 57-yarder that Anders Carlson drilled in family night. Of course, they blew the frickin' whistle and made him kick it again, and then he missed, which ticked me off. I don't know why they're vacuuming right now.
There was also a low snap on that one. The one that he missed. Matt
LaFleur, if it continues, LaFleur is going to have one of those breakdowns, where it's just like, Matt, how's the special teams doing? It's like week 8. He's like, Man, I don't know. I don't know what else we can do. And he's just going to have to run in there, take over special teams now, of course. Like, he had to take over the defense last year. He's going to be saying, help me, help you into the mirror, right? Like, doing all that stuff. So, like, it's just, oh, man. I just, too old for this. That would be incredible.
By the way, another thought. I've said this before, and I'm dead serious, and I doubt it's ever going to happen. I want to see Dylan. I want him to give him an opportunity as a kick returner. I want him to return kicks. This is a thing that is built for running backs. He has wide open space, get a full head of steam, and just smash into like linebackers. That's what we brought you in here to do.
Yeah.
So I just want to just give him a shot. He's not going to keep his job. I want to see if he can do it.
Hey, long snappers are like 235, 240. So, I mean,
That's true. That's true.
He's right there.
Just brainstorming here, Dylan. We're trying to help you, man. We like you. Dylan's a good guy. Yeah. He's a good farmer. He's a good patriot. You know,
great. Long snappers of our time. We can figure this out and like
since
we are begging.
Brett Good.
Yeah, we are begging for somebody to do this.
Dude, by the way, what is Brett Good doing? I bet he could still do it.
Probably.
He can do it. We gotta hit him up. Where's he at? Let's see if he's on Twitter. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to find Brett Good
right now.
Did you see that the Packers worked out a cornerback today named Josh Valentine? If we sign him, we're going to have Valentine, and Ballantyne all playing cornerback.
Oh, come on. I just got those two sorted out in my head. I can't handle that.
I finally started mispronouncing Ballantyne as Ballantine because it was just easier. It was easier to just let people assume that I don't know how to say the guy's name than to not know which of the two guys I said.
Brett Good is a real estate agent right now. Come on, dog.
Brett, how much money are you making doing real estate right now? I mean, surely the vet minimum in the NFL is at least equivalent, probably a lot better.
There are some more Valentines in college.
Can't
Green
do
Bay
it.
could add another. Josh sticks around. Draft another next year.
What do we got? Yeah, I haven't spent enough time on this. I talked a big game about like got to get 2025 locked down. I haven't been doing it. Valentine. What do we got? Anything? I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
Jake, have you? Two of us says we need a Valentino. Jake, have you decided who you want to nominate as your concern?
Yes.
There's still one really big one out there.
There might be, but might take my own path. I mean, can I be worried? I thought you said we could worry about a position group, right?
Yeah.
I just checked
interior
our
O-line. That's what I'm doing.
I just checked our live viewer count on here, and it's still nice and high. And it's like 98% all coming from Ryan's Twitter.
Yes. By the way, throw me a follow if you wouldn't mind. New people, I'd appreciate that.
There you go. Says we have Packernet Podcast Facebook group. 2.
YouTube has 11,
and Twitter has.
And Twitter has all the rest.
A lot of other people, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interior offensive line now. So, there. Anybody.
We have a comment.
Anyone.
We have a comment here from Professor Cakes.
Please.
I'm wondering when the Packers are going to give old Professor Cakes a call to take a shot at long snapper.
Just anyone.
Do it.
I'm just
Garrett, I appreciate you on Facebook. So it pops up, just so you know, last time we did a live stream, I think it was you. Garrett was like donating on Facebook, and you get like donate stars or whatever. Nobody's ever done that for me, by the way, so I appreciate it. But it just showed up as like a blank, almost like he hit the space bar and hit enter. I'm like, okay, Garrett, cool, man. Thanks for. He just wants to be in the conversation, but has nothing to say. He did it twice. I go on Facebook, and it's like, oh, he donated stars. I'm like, oh, sweet, dude, thank you. I don't know how that works. I don't know how much it was, but I appreciate it.
Meanwhile, poor Garrett is sitting there. He's like spending money to send these stars, and you're like,
just looking
send
for a
me
little
his
thank
space
you.
bar.
Like, oh, this idiot.
It's not paying
Janelle
attention.
says, I only have YouTube and I follow all of you. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Janelle.
That's lovely. There isn't. I can't find a Valentine either. I did find another
Open
Anthony
tryouts.
Johnson Jr.
Did you?
Yeah, and he plays DB.
That would be the third one in 3 years. There was one that we drafted. There was a second one last year, so this would be the third one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
Tool for this says, I'm waiting for the day that the Packers announce
Get
open
ready.
tryouts for LS.
That'd be
Dude,
good.
Maud from Oshkosh is going to get that job.
Stars
Garrett says
translate
stars
like
translate
shrewd
like
bucks. Nice. Always wanted a shrewd buck.
Yeah.
Tool for this is angrily mashing on his keyboard, trying to come up with a retort.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Too Old for this. I don't remember what it was. What is the conversion rate? It's the same as unicorns to something else. Is that it? Leprechauns?
Yeah.
Never remember that.
Okay. That's great.
Okay. So Jake, you get your position group that you wanted to hit.
Stanley
Yeah.
Nichols.
Yeah, I just think it's interior offensive line, and I think it's
Yeah.
specifically because I think the depth along the entire O line is a concern.
Yes.
And when you have Tom, coming off injury, right? You're easing him back in. You have Walker, who had that nice little stretch, to end the season, kind of like Love did in pass protection. And it's kind of like, okay, well, if one of them goes down, Morgan's probably going to be trying to pick things up. They have to move him, and then it gets interesting if that happens, where it's begging Sean Ryan to do something. If center's an issue, Elton Jenkins, is he sliding over? All of this stuff. So then another guard spot opens up. I'm worried for the interior offensive line right now, specifically because of the depth, specifically because injuries happened, and I just felt like there were not to harp on the draft too much, but there were options, and I feel like they kind of on day 3, Green Bay kind of went like, here are some ceiling projects we could take at offensive line. And it's just kind of like, okay, but you got any of those who might be able to kind of step in, and maybe Monk could step in, but from all accounts, it sounds like, hey, this is a red shirt for him. Let's get him ready to potentially be the long-term center after this. And it just feels like that's, he might not be someone who can just step in. So I'm just concerned because injuries always happen. Nobody's going through a perfect run without any in a season. So it's just somebody's going to have to step up. And I'm just worried that we don't have anybody to do that. So,
But by the way, Too Old for this. I think Beach Day legitimately might be my favorite episode.
that's
It's way
really
up there.
good one.
I love that one.
Really good. It's really good.
Dinner
At
party's
different
great,
parts of the
but that's
day, they were
underrated.
given
Party is-
gold stars, thumbs ups, and Michael tells her to check her notebook for a conversion chart. Garrett says O-line hasn't been the same since Butkus took over as the O-line coach. Not as good. I will just point out that I think we've had some personnel issues during that same time span. I don't think that the quality of player along the O-line has been as good the last few years as it was the preceding few years. I'll just say that. So Jake, you're kind of just casting the interior O-line as a whole. I'll kind of double down on that with my next one. I'm kind of leapfrogging over Ryan here with the backup tackle spot. I don't think is great, and it has me normally my response to that would be like, oh, okay, well, show me the team that does have good backup tackles, Cry Me River. Okay,
Sure.
But we don't know that Zach Tom is going to be able to play. And so we might really quickly be in a situation where our starting tackles are Jordan Morgan and Rasheed Walker. And the guys behind them, Andre Dillard, Kadeem Telfort, Caleb Jones, I am not confident that we have an NFL starter among those three guys. And then that's not even counting the fact that, okay, great, we just moved Jordan Morgan off of right guard where we literally just don't have a guy because Sean Ryan can't tie his shoes and nobody wants Royce Newman in there anymore. and then we just didn't bother to put anybody else on the roster who can play right guard besides those two guys.
And obviously Monk, but again, if they're,
I'm
getting him to be the center of the future, they're not having him focus there anymore. And so now it's like, okay, well, now I need to go back and do this. Like, it just, it feels a little.
I need to see a little something from Monk before I'm
like
going to get excited about him. Like right now,
I agree.
I don't really separate him. Like to me, right now, he's like Jake Hansen. That's kind of my shorthand in my head for him.
Perfect.
I need to see something from him first, and if he can play, great. But like right now, he doesn't have any like built-in stock for me. Sean Ryan also ties his cleats together. Yes, he does.
Sure seems like it.
I have griped a couple times about how the 2024 draft went, but my overriding frustration with it is mostly centered around the fact that there were so many offensive linemen that I really liked in the first 4 rounds, especially like in the 3rd round-ish territory. There was just this pile of offensive linemen that I really liked, interior guys, and
okay.
Nathan.
Okay. Oh, no.
Nathan Putski. Hi, everyone.
Oh, no.
Ryan, this is probably the wrong time to ask, but I've been dying to hear your thoughts about the upcoming general election. Always respected your thoughts and opinions. Love the podcast. I listen every day. Go Pack Go. I would just say our collective stance as a podcast is we are pro ed policy. We celebrate Ed Policy Day here every day, 365 days a year.
Oh, man.
And so we're very much looking forward to supporting the Murphy policy ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not voting, it's like what Ricky Bobby said. If you don't vote for Murphy policy, then blank you.
Too old for this. You just write them in, dude. You got to write in that policy.
Yeah, there's a write-in.
Don't sit home. That we need you.
Yeah.
We need you.
Yeah.
I remember every year
Guys,
Brett Favre used to get like 400 votes or something. We got to get policy going.
Guys, go to the rally at Mars Cheese Castle, okay? Go to the meetup, all right?
Yep.
If you're not
we're gonna
sold, you
have
will
a
be sold, okay?
Election day meetup at the Mars Cheese Castle.
Okay? If you're not sold after that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
Garrett Stritzel says, Polka policy 2025. There's not even an election in 2025.
No.
It's a torch passing, yeah. It's not really an election. But
I mean, he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to take the job in 2025 because he's going to be president of the United States of America.
How did this guy get 48 million write-in votes?
Yeah.
Grassroots.
Wisconsin goes to ed policy.
All right, we're at the board. Wisconsin is going green. I can't believe what's happening, and it's not the Green Party. It's the Packers.
CNN.
Oh, it could be an
anchors are
all-timer.
frantically Googling.
They're calling it.
Who the heck is ed
All-time
policy?
call. We're calling Wisconsin, and I've never heard this name before.
This is education policy. What?
Yeah.
What is this?
It is funny when I like Google ed policy. A lot of times that will come up, education policy. Like, no, stupid don't act like you don't know.
I'm sorry. That has to be his new nickname, education policy.
It has to.
That's so good.
Phenomenal.
By the way, Abby, thank you for the follow. I'm trying to give shout outs to people that subscribe, people that join on Facebook, and follow us on the Twitters. Appreciate that. Thank you, Abby.
Oh my gosh.
At the rate that our view count is going up right here, Wisconsin might flip for education
I'm
policy.
just saying, if we really hammer that, we might have a shot here.
Next derailed ed policy town hall. Okay, make sure you show up.
Here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna upset some people, but we should do a poll. Who are you voting for? We list the candidates along with ed policy, and our goal is to make sure ed policy at some point, like we run this weekly, we need ed policy to bypass the other guys.
There it is. Yeah.
We'll get the Packernet derailed poll. We'll start getting featured as part of like the 538 polls.
Yep. We gotta start doing graphics and like we can put posters out on like stop signs and stuff.
Yeah.
Do like what is that viral marketing?
The
Guys,
day
we're
after,
gonna flip Illinois. I feel good about it. Illinois is also gonna flip green. It's crazy.
What is happening?
the day after the election, we're going to be DMing each other, and we'll be like, "Oh wow, the candidate that we wanted to win, narrowly lost this state because of 3,000 education policy meme votes. What have we done?"
This is like the Operation Ohio Invasion or Ohio Takeover that like goes around every once in a while. That's kind of like a meme out there, and it's just for us, it's just ed policy. So,
the Republican Party started in Wisconsin, and the Policy Party also going to start in Wisconsin. We build politics here.
So much history here.
Yeah, this is where the world begins, right here.
Yeah.
So what if the Policy Party does get launched here, but then Mr. Education Policy himself is busy running the Packers, and so Mark Murphy is the first candidate?
That's true.
Can I say
you're officially too old to run the Packers anymore, so now you're the perfect age to go run the country?
Well,
that's true.
That's fair.
Yep.
Although actually, with Joe Biden dropping out, the median age of our presidential candidates just dropped by like 30 years.
That's true. It's a major shift.
True. He might be too old now.
I can't keep track.
For this.
We're doing it either way. I don't really care. We're doing this. It's going to happen.
I don't know. I might submit the ticket of ed policy and Leroy Butler. I feel like that is like an elite ticket right
That's
there.
a heck of a VP. That'll
like-
push some votes.
I feel like we're getting a good direction here.
That's one of those things too.
So-
You get ed policy and he gets like 5% of the vote and whatever, and then we announce the VP pick, and it just explodes. You know what I mean?
Ed policy to me doesn't feel like the energy guy in the room at
Right.
all. He's very focused, got the tunnel vision, is just kind of like, get down to business type of person. And then you have like, Leroy Butler coming in, hype man. I think this ticket is one to grow on.
We need
Ed policy Wayne Larrivee.
I was going to say Larry McCarran.
McCarran, yep. What about the Gravedigger? He's a Wisconsin guy. You know what I'm saying?
Could be. And if all else fails, then AJ Dillon cannot find a spot on the roster.
Yeah.
He will just have to run on the ticket with ed policy.
Well, you know how they always say, like, as Ohio goes, so goes the country, because whichever candidate wins Ohio always wins the election. So if you really need to sway Ohio, the VP could be Corey Lindsley because he played at Ohio State.
Yeah, and he's probably more popular than Josh Myers. So,
oh yeah, no.
So I think we'd have to go that direction.
Josh Myers is not winning any votes right now.
No.
By the way, there's also like the House and Senate. You know what I mean? Like we gotta really push this thing. Dylan could maybe be a senator or something if we're not going to put him on the ticket.
That's true.
I mean, we already took over religion.
Policy hawk.
I thought about that too.
That's not because then
hawk. First
then
off,
you
the
get
sound of that is great.
That sounds great, and you get like the it's not a hawk, it's an eagle, but still, the graphics are going to be fantastic. Plus, you get the boys on your side. You know what I mean? Yeah. You imagine you put hawk on the ticket, and suddenly you got all the ESPN frat boy pushing it.
Yeah.
You probably would get who's the pizza guy? Barstool. Might even get Barstool on our side.
Yeah.
We got Rick here in the chat saying that he's a Packer fan who lives in Chicago. That's rough.
Been there. I've been there, man.
I'm a Packer fan who lives in Michigan, and that was not bad until the Lions fans just lost their minds last year and got super annoying.
No.
By the way, Brett Good just responded to me.
No way.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Bring it up.
I said, Brett, hold up. I'll share it.
This is amazing.
Actually, no way.
So I said, Brett Good, please come back. He said, I already have plans to attend a game later in the year.
Well, what about suiting up?
Yeah, we're making inroads here. We're making inroads. I wouldn't mind Brett Good, having place in our administration somewhere
There you
too.
go.
If he's not going to do football, I mean, he's in my mind, he's a legend. He didn't get the love he deserved, but he gave us so many years of just. You didn't even know his name because you didn't need to, because
That's
nobody
the thing.
thought about long snapping.
That's the thing, right? The long snapping thing. It's probably maybe there's like a couple other positions where if you're like, I don't know who that is, they're probably good because
exactly.
you're not screwing up. Like that's like I feel like that's what we need.
You never even thought about it because it was never a low snap, never a high snap, never a mistake. So nobody knew who Brett Kood was. He's a legend. I miss that man.
I hate that I know all of our last like 5 long snappers that we've had. I'm still annoyed about Hunter Bradley. And I think Hunter Bradley might have been the best long snapper that we've had in this era, and was still horrible. I actually thought that tight end that we had was pretty good. Jack Coco was his name.
Jack Coco, yeah.
Like
I think wasn't he the one like his
absolutely-
dad was? Weren't you talking to some of his family? And I know I had talked to his dad a little bit.
His dad's a cool cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jake is losing it over here over something.
Yeah, because this Professor Cakes.
Oh boy.
Secretary of Defense would be the one and only ghost of Reggie White.
Oh no. Oh man.
We can
Late
talk
great-
about it. I don't know if that's going to work.
We'll have
The
to
late
figure
great
it.
Mr. Reggie White.
I'm just not sure the logistics make sense. He has to commute, kind of. So like, I don't think
He's a commute
that's
from
not like a
heaven.
long. It's not a short commute either. So like, I don't know.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
I know, right?
It's a little bit.
Trump
Of both.
policy debate moderated by Pat McAfee. Whew.
I mean, it would do numbers.
Honestly,
no question about it. It wouldn't be boring.
Nothing would surprise me anymore.
Well, I was just going to say, I've realized, it dawned on me way too late. Politics has become just WWE. It's all just
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Why not, dude? Let Pat McAfee do it.
Yeah.
Harry Cheese. This guy's name is Harry Cheese. He says it's instant. What are we talking about?
Nothing productive.
I
probably,
don't
so
know how to get you caught up, Harry. I really don't. I'm sorry.
Just go back a little further.
No,
So
just
here's
jump on the
10
train
minutes.
and just ride it.
As I'm trying to picture this Trump policy debate moderated by Pat McAfee, I'm thinking about the last presidential debate that we did have to watch where Trump and Biden were arguing about their golf handicap or whatever.
Mm.
Like that's just what the entire debate would be. It would just be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's putting on the golf belt?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what the people
it.
want. Just give the people what they want.
Yeah.
But
Nobody
here's the
freaking
question,
cares
who is-
anymore. Just make it fun.
Who would be the more entertaining candidate? Like I don't think that policy is the most entertaining candidate.
That's true.
We can, like, okay,
No, but
I
I'll
think
tell you
Aaron
what, the
Rodgers would
VP
be instantly
debate.
more interesting. Brett Favre would be interesting.
Ooh. I don't know that gets any votes, but he would be entertaining.
Probably not.
Favre's dealing with his own stuff
He's got some stuff going
right
on.
now. So
But once you get into
I think-
politics, it doesn't
here's the
matter
thing.
what you've done in the past.
I'm almost positive that if it's a policy hawk, that McAfee will obviously help him out a little for the VP
Yeah.
debate.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Or just have Leroy
It's
Butler
all
go in and
slanted to
just
the Green Party,
crush.
man. Yeah.
Let's let Leroy Butler crush his opponent in the VP debate.
McAfee will be
It's just not
like
even
given
a contest, man.
tough questions to the opponent, and then once AJ's on the stand, he'll be like, "So AJ,
How you doing?
what kind of cigar are you smoking there? Tell us about it."
I don't want to
we
give
got
I don't want to
AJ
give up too
Hawkins
soon on Gilbert Brown. I feel like that's not the worst guy to have in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I don't know if he still does. He had a podcast for a while, so he does some talking. He's a scary guy, so you got to watch your mouth, if you're debating him and whatnot.
Yeah, he falls under the category of probably like peaceful, right?
Yeah. He's a Wisconsin
you
guy.
know. He's got a. Well, that's true.
I'm
That's
not
fair.
I'm not pinning Harry Cheese's Favre comment, but it's funny.
Why? It's correct. It's true. That's why for the listeners who are
That's-
still
yeah.
listening to this instead of watching.
Dude, the
every
numbers
week.
keep
That's
going
why you
up.
gotta
I don't know
get
what
here.
you're talking about. They're
No,
all
we're-
still,
Gotta get here.
oh, we
We're
lost half of
soaring.
our 2 Facebook viewers. We're down to just 1. But
Facebook is
Ryan's
tanking.
Twitter keeps going up higher and higher.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Garrett is still here.
T.O. as press secretary crying and
That's
saying,
great.
"That's my president."
That's
Yeah,
really good.
that's the one right there.
Good.
But that's basically the press secretary's entire job. Just cry
Yeah.
on behalf of the
Who are some other?
Well,
There's got to be some like who are some
see-
Packers that were just out of control. I'm not talking like Kabir Bajabiamila out of control, but just like like
no, yeah.
wild and crazy. And I would say Clay, but he seems kind of like off the field, pretty laid back.
Yeah, I feel like Clay Matthews. You could convince me he's in one of those ads, like where they're out in a ranch, where they post video of like the wheat kind of blowing in the wind, like one of those kind of ads. So yeah, I think he's like, maybe if he treats this like playing between the lines, then I think you have something.
I do think that if you had Aaron Rodgers as one of the debaters, and maybe he's like the VP or something, they'll get into some heated back and forth, and Aaron will zip in some zinger, and then he'll just kind of start dancing around and saying, "I still own you. I still own you."
That's where WWE comes in.
And I feel like if we get
He'll come back after the commercial break, and he's all hopped up on the painkillers they had to give him for his knee.
My knee.
here's a thought: if we did do something radical like Favre for president, you could go the wholesome route and get Jordy for VP to try to like sweep up, some of the.
That's true.
Get some of the Midwest nice farm people, you know what I mean?
It is true. Like, nobody likes it when you have an interesting or crazy VP. Like, nobody wants that. They want
stable.
I'm thinking back on some of the VPs who were actually on winning tickets, and they were like the most boring person. Like, I remember in the 2016 election, when Hillary picked Tim Kaine, and he immediately went out and started just making kind of some weird comments on TV, and instantly people were like, I didn't actually care about Hillary one way or the other, but her running mate is kind of weird. I remember hearing that. It's like, don't detract from the actual candidate.
That's
the
problem.
If you're the VP.
But see, that's the problem we have. Ed Policy's kind of that guy, right? And he's at the top of the ticket, right? So
it's almost like you need Mark as the president and Ed as the vice president, just to not rock the boat.
Yeah. Well,
I really would. I would love. I think that's actually not a bad idea, having Mark Murphy at the top of the ticket, because that dude is so fun to listen to.
Yeah,
he doesn't give a crap. He's going to say whatever's on his mind, which I love. But he's also just a good dude, so it's not like word vomit and it's all horrible stuff. You know what I mean? He's just a nice old dude.
While we're sitting here right now, I would just again like to, for a nomination, keep things actually on topic. Funny enough, Nathan Putski, you definitely win Derailer of the Week. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
you've been doing
not even
this for like
100%.
25 minutes.
This was 17 minutes ago that he asked that question. So
We are
just-
35
we have-
seconds away from being at the 1 hour mark,
Yeah.
which
So,
is normally when we shut this down. And we have spent 2/3 of this episode
yeah.
brainstorming which former Packers players and personnel should be on the ticket. We haven't even
have
talked
to
about
change
guys
the
like
title.
Andrew Brandt.
Yeah,
He'd be interesting.
yeah.
Attorney
I think
General.
Jeff Janis is interesting if you wanted to get Aaron Rodgers on board. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we want you to be the top of the ticket. He's like, I don't know, I got other stuff going on. I'm kind of this way. I'd rather go with this. But it's like, hear me out, Janis VP. He's like, all right, I'm in.
And
You know
if
what
that
I mean?
doesn't sway him, Kumaro.
Yes, Yep.
Yeah, Kumaro
Kumaro would be huge.
would certainly sway him.
You got to find all those
Randall Cobb.
random little guys. Yeah, Cobb. All those guys that weren't great that he really was upset they left.
Yeah. Honestly,
Dude,
Randall
Kumaro is
Cobb
one of
would
those guys
probably
like
be
we
a
should have
perfect
already
VP
forgotten
too.
that he existed, except for how
Yeah,
mad Aaron
really
got that we
should.
moved on from him.
I think the trump card too would be Lazard, because he's for whatever reason beyond obsessed with that guy.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like Lazard kind of wanted to get out of Dodge his final year. Like seemed like he didn't want to play with Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once things
Then
went
nobody
sour
else
with the
wanted him?
Packers and nobody else wanted him. He's like, "Hey, Aaron, buddy, Remember all the remember that one
Remember the good
Lions game where
times.
my career started? How cool that was. We should just relive that game over and over again. Let's just get drinks and just talk about that one game.
It is hilarious getting Jets updates too, because it's like Lazard is seemingly their number one wide receiver right now, and I have to assume it's because Rodgers is just force feeding that guy over and over again. It is hilarious.
I think what's happening is he's probably going to have to be the sacrificial X receiver until Mike Williams gets back, probably, as they move Garrett Wilson around to get him the ball as much as possible. So, like, I think Rodgers is force feeding him because he's like, hey, we actually need you, like, first 4 weeks here, bud. Like, get up to speed. So.
Jordy Nelson, Secretary of Agriculture. I love it, Garrett.
Hope you enjoyed your 17-second football talk there, as we now get back to Secretary of Agriculture Jordy Nelson.
How is Alan
Really
Lazard
here, so
football talk? That's not football talk.
what do you mean?
Meme talk. Lazard tries so hard to be Robert California.
That's why.
He's not the real Lizard King. I remember when we wanted that to be a thing so bad. Lazard was going to be the Lizard King, and then he was just bad at football, so it was like, I'm not going to give you a cool nickname.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
See, Lazard was good until that final year when he wanted more money and they wouldn't give it to him, and then he just clearly just didn't want to be there.
Yeah, he really thought he was something special. I think that was the whole thing. He thought he was deserving of all this money. He was going to be the number one guy. Packers are like, no. He's like, screw you. I'm going to go make a bunch of money, and nobody wanted him. So he had to go crawling back to the Jets.
I mean, he was super duper likable. And then that final year,
fine.
it was just obvious that he didn't want to be there, and he was only there because he was legally obligated to because of his contract. And he couldn't, and then like as soon as that Lions game was done at the end of the year, the reporter was like asking him some question about like,
What does that mean?
What next year looks like, and he's like, I'm not going to be here.
Well, and I think
Oh,
that
Magic
contributed
Johnson.
to him not getting money because the Packers very obviously are trying to push that attitude out of the team. So when you get guys like Lazard who are just acting that way, you know that they're on their way out because they're not putting up with that.
Right.
Zadarius went through that same thing. All these guys start doing that, and the Packers are like, yep, that's it. You're out of here. Not playing that.
Then on the flip side, then you got guys who are fantastic team players and you love them, and they stick around until they just physically can't play anymore, like Adrian Amos. Like we basically kept him around until he could not suit up with the cleats anymore.
Yeah.
Just ran his tires off. What a good dude, Adrian Amos.
Very good dude.
The thing I will always cherish the most about Amos, besides just that he was a good football player, was all the times that he took swings at his former team on Twitter, talking crap about how much the Bears suck.
I'm just glad it's an M and not an N. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. This is an elite comment by Prince Capsaicin.
Alan Lazard is the Ruvel Martin of Jake Coomer.
That's really good.
That is
It's really good.
That's high quality.
I love that. That's really good.
I don't know what to do because I'm watching our view counter tick up. It goes higher and higher and higher, and we are
Gotta keep going.
we are past
We're just gonna
time.
keep rocking.
Yep.
I just I'm at. We got to get at least one more viewer because we can't have the number at that. That's not acceptable.
There you go. But yeah, where else do we go now for the?
What do we even
That's
do?
the thing.
Harry
we gotta
Cheese says
fill
go
the
another
case.
hour.
Go another hour.
I'll go as many hours as that ticker keeps going up. How about that? I got nothing going on today.
Don't know.
That's a good ticker, but I like the pay ticker even better. We need to get some donos going.
That's true. And again, I will say, if you're
that's
listening on X, please follow. If you're on Facebook, that one person, please make sure it's probably Garrett who's already following everything. And on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so you don't miss any of the good nasties. I'm mostly talking to people on X because everybody else, you guys are already subscribed. So
This is true.
give us a follow.
Too old for this says that we should end the show. End it on a high note, unlike Lazard.
Yeah.
I might pull a JJ here
Oh gosh,
and
what
say
does that
send
mean?
the dono, and then we will. And we'll keep going. And
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
Wait. We did that before. What was it where it's like, if we get to this number in the next this many whatever, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we get to 800 or get, I don't know, $5-10 in the dono, then we'll keep going. Otherwise, we'll call it.
Harry says we have crappy timing. We need to offset from Clayton's live stream. Look, Clayton just needs to reschedule his live stream. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Here's the thing. This show used to be at a different time. And then Ryan messaged us one day and he's like, listen, I just can't do it anymore. So, see ya. And we were like, wait,
if that's how that works.
Why? And he's like, well, unless you're willing to do it specifically Mondays at 7, I just can't do it anymore. So Jake and I are like, well, I guess we got to do Mondays at 7. It was supposed to be like a temporary thing.
I don't know if it was that dramatic.
It was supposed to be 6 weeks.
Play this up.
And that was like a year ago.
A lot of exaggeration going on there, but yeah, it was something like that.
That's what we need, though, right? This policy ticket, right? If we're joining the party, we gotta go
on the Emilio live stream.
This must be an inside joke about Emilio. Is Emilio like a popular commenter?
He's on the stream.
No, he's on.
Oh, he's on the stream.
Yes. So there you go.
Emilio.
The stator of the streams podcast group gets to set timing.
I have a solution for this.
You say so.
We need Ed Policy to set the schedule every week, and then we'll be in good shape.
Well, it's like, they have this intense algorithm that they run to put together the NFL schedule for 32 teams every year. They need to run that for our 2 shows.
Yep. Be like, all right, can we find a time? And that will be the fastest algorithm there ever is that runs.
AFAM Rolf says, definitely still need Love to improve his accuracy. Could be. The one comment I made about that on the podcast was that he needs to occasionally remember to put a little air under the ball. I think he gets a little excited and starts throwing rocket balls out there like Brett Favre. And like when you got a tight end like Sims who's beat everybody down the field, you don't need to throw it 150 miles an hour at his head. Just put a little air, let him run under it and grab it. It'll be all right.
I don't know.
I mean,
see if he can catch one of those.
Yeah, he's got a lot of years to finesse his craft.
Yeah,
but
he's come a long way.
A year ago, we were having all these conversations about like, for some reason, he can't hit the deep ball because all of his deep balls just have too much air and just fall a little bit short. So
there's been none.
I also
of that this
think
year
that was
either.
a back foot thing.
AFAM brings up a decent point, but we got to remember how rough things were last year. There was a ton of, like, he had him wide open. It was massively underthrown. All this stuff, overthrown. There's been zero of that this year. I mean, he has been on the money, occasionally like a little behind, a little too hard, whatever. Like JJ said, he's got some time to work that out, but the general accuracy and timing with his guys has taken an unbelievable step compared to last year's training camp, which was kind of a disaster. I don't know if we remember that or not, but almost every day was the first half, Jordan was garbage. And then the second half, usually there'd be some kind of a resurgence, but he's just been on the money every day.
Yeah, both in practice and in games. It was like the first section of whatever it was, whether it's going to be the first quarter of the game or the first hour of practice, whatever. It was just going to be just so cold. It took him forever to heat up.
Yes.
And then at the end of it, he's just going on this heater and just demolishing the defense. And it's like, if you could have led with that, we wouldn't be playing catch up right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But more reps seems to have built some sort of early rhythm that's working here so far. So that's the good news.
I don't think it's all Jordan either. I mean, it was a lot of Jordan, but you got to get the timing and the rhythm and get the offense and just kind of get into that groove, which seemed like last year it took them some time, and this year they're just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I feel like people are like underestimate like how much quarterbacks have to be like, all right, so how big of a stride does this player take versus this player on all of these different routes? So how far do I have to lead this? Like there's so much of that where it's not all 3-step drop slant stuff where it's like I know where to put this ball, it's got to be here. It's like, no, Watson takes bigger strides than Reed does.
Yeah.
Like there's
And that's-
some differences there that
That's been one of my favorite things is
biggest thing.
his accuracy with Watson.
Yes.
That deep ball to Watson has been beautiful so far from what I've seen and heard.
Yeah. I mean the one at Family Night, the corner that he hit him
Yeah.
on was
really
nice.
Jair could not have had better coverage. That ball had
Yeah.
to be in that exact spot or it's getting either overthrown or broken up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's been better. I think it's more reps. It's Clements, obviously.
Yes.
Thank you to him.
Hey,
That's a
he might
big
be
part
looking to
of it.
retire soon. We could add him to our get him in the party. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. You know, yeah, he could fit a lot of different spots, I'm sure. So, but I think part of the reason people think Jordan sometimes doesn't throw a good ball is because there are times where, again, his off script, he loves to do that stuff. He's got the trick shot in him where you're kind of like, oh, why are you doing, like, you don't need to do that. And he's like, but
Right.
I can.
Yeah.
So why not?
It's a little Mahomesy, you know. There's a little
Yeah.
bit of showboating going on that
Yeah.
maybe isn't necessary, but when it connects, it's super cool.
I feel like I go back to the one against Chicago the last week of the regular season where it was like, I'm off the back foot in between two defenders to wicks
Yep.
for this touchdown. I can do it. And I'm sitting there like, please don't do it. Get the ball there in a hurry, please. He's like, nah, we're good. I got it. No problem. Like, it's just, but like that kind of like still being a tactician and being aggressive at the right times. He's like, he seriously figured that out.
Yep.
In addition to a lot of other things. So.
Did we decide on a name of our party? We can't go green party. That's
Well, I
already
didn't
taken.
want to interrupt the football again. But I think I have it.
Who cares? Just
Go
do
for
it.
I think I have it. Cheese party.
All
Works
right.
for me.
That
Works for
works.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if we're the gold party, I think people might start think we're like handing out stuff and like we don't have that kind of resources, so
Yes.
it's probably best. Yeah, yet. So probably wait on that. We'll see.
But think
Name
how dope
change
it would be to
pending.
have like events and you show up and we're like throwing bags of cheese curds out, like what up?
Yeah.
Leroy Butler's like he's got his whiskey out there. We got whiskey and cheese. Dude, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
good time. The cheese party?
See-
Are you kidding me?
I'm so in on Leroy Butler for many, many reasons. Just love the fact that last year he's like, Jordan, we got some more help for you. Two times. Spoiler, buddy. Like, hello, people trying to watch the draft. Like, but he just doesn't care. I love that. He's like, we got more help for you. It's like, all right, it's not defense. Okay, cool. I love that. Oh yeah, Charles Woodson. There we go.
Too old
Yeah, I
for
think-
this is a streaker, not a streamer.
And by the way, Julius Peppers shouted out Green Bay, said were 3 of the best years of his life.
Man.
As, Hall of Fame enshrinement. So like, might have some backing there as well.
All the best years of my life have been spent watching Packers football.
There you go. See, yeah, we couldn't be the gold party because that's probably what the Hall of Famers call themselves with the gold jackets, right?
Bro, you know what would be cool to bust out for the party? If we got Sterling Sharp.
Ooh,
You know what I mean?
yes.
Legend.
Yeah.
Never got the recognition he deserved. Let's give him the
The
recognition.
cheese party is going to push Sharp into the hall, man.
Sharp cheese.
Ooh.
Huh?
Sharp cheese.
And
Dang.
Tucker Kraft. And Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft.
Sharp
Yes.
cheese and Tucker Kraft.
Sharp and
Yes.
Kraft.
Oh, 2024.
Sharp.
Dang. It's coming together.
And then we have Joe's comment here, which probably a good time to just go ahead and end the stream rather than
What?
which Jordan will we get. I think we're going to get the greatest player in the NFL, highest paid quarterback in NFL history. That's who we're getting, man. What are you talking about? Worries about
I
Jordan
think
Love.
expectations for one. I think like you can't expect I think Jordan to be Rodgers all the time.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have like that kind of. I think Rodgers developed a lack of aggression at times, and was playing very averse. And I just don't think Jordan plays like that. I think Jordan kind of has, that sort of arm arrogant stuff that a lot of the Allens and the Mahomeses have, where it's just kind of like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Like, whereas like even Herbert, somebody who seems a little bit more averse even. I just think that's what you're kind of get. I think they're going to be very Favre-like performances. Like you're going to get some, I think.
And then couple that
go away.
Couple that with the more aggressive defense. This is going to be a very different looking Packers team than, Rodgers and, the more passive defenses that we had. Now we've got an aggressive Brett Favre offense and an aggressive like it's either going to be awesome or like, oh crap. Like, there's going to be more picks. There's going to be more big plays given up, but it's going to be a fun and exciting team to watch.
Which Allen has done that in Buffalo.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Like he has had that. There are games where 100% where he's like, I put it all on me. Yeah. Like I will will us across this finish line. Don't forget week 1 against the Jets. They lost that game. Rodgers went out after 4 plays. They lost. So, It happens, right? The quarterbacks are going to have games like that.
Too old for this says, I'm most worried about the Bears, not because I'm scared of them, but because I hope they're doing okay mentally. Well, I think they're doing okay mentally right now, but if this quarterback goes out and lays an egg...
They haven't played real football yet, so,
I mean, even just
that's
week
when the
1,
worrying starts.
If he just struggles week 1, they lose the game and he throws 2 picks... Obviously, there's no reason to panic. They're going to panic, and it's going to be the best thing ever.
They might, but also they watched crap football play from Justin Fields for, 3 years, 2 years? And at no point did they recognize that it was bad. So
yeah,
I'm not sure
it could go either way.
Have to be for them to realize he's bad.
But I just think it could break them. Like, they're convinced this is different. Like, this isn't Field. This is going to be better. He's so good. Maybe not. Maybe they'll jump on the train and be like, "Oh, it's fine," but I don't know. I could do some damage.
Yeah, if they somehow lose to the Titans, and like Levis shreds their defense, and
first of all, that'd be a terrible sign for your defense.
Right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if Levis and like Ridley and all those guys, reportedly without Hopkins, it sounds like. As well, because he's got something with his knee, and then Simmons is just in Caleb's face all day, and they lose that game. They're going to panic immediately.
Right.
Everybody thinks the Titans are last place by a mile right now in that division. So and everybody's penciling in or just kind of like noting under some stuff for the Titans for next April, like probably a QB. And so like if Levis goes out and like shreds what people believe is going to be one of the top defenses, the panic is it's gonna be quick.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is they not only put a lot in Caleb, that they think their defense is going to be elite. So that's going to be double crushing if that happens. Oh, I hope it happens. Please let it happen.
For sure.
Frankly, I don't think that the Titans are good enough to take advantage of even.
I don't think so, but
I'm going to believe in Levis.
Imagine if they do. Imagine if they do.
I think the Titans are going to end up with the first pick in the draft, but we'll see.
The Giants will. I hate the Giants.
I got the
much.
Saints. I got the Saints for the first overall.
Giants are such garbage. Although maybe their new wide receiver will drag them over the finish line, because I think they're just going to be throwing balls up to that guy, and he's going to be scoring touchdowns.
That could be.
Once he starts scoring touchdowns, the jersey's on order. So
I believe it.
So we're ready over here for that one. I can't wait. 17 touchdown year, 4-13, baby.
Yeah.
That feels probable.
I don't know how to say your name, Mr. Rolfs. When's the last time the Super Bowl winning team was a running team?
1986. Or 85, yeah. 80.
It's true. I would say, I mean, I think Chiefs ran the ball pretty well last year. You know, when
I don't
Yes,
think there's
receivers-
any way you-
Yes, every time someone
when the
pictures
receivers,
Kansas City
hey,
Chiefs, they
I'm
think
just saying, I'm just saying, I think people would be shocked how much the running game. The receivers couldn't catch.
It's a good thing that Pacheco is so good, and
The
he
receivers
drags their
couldn't
carcass
catch.
of a terrible quarterback across the finish line.
There was
I
no,
don't
the
think that's
carcass
gonna
was
sell.
Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, but they
And
they
Sky
have
Moore.
tight ends too that catch
They
passes.
do, but man, they're really continuing with the idea of receivers who can't catch over there, which I find very interesting.
As long as they keep winning Super Bowls, I don't think they feel like they have to do a damn thing.
What would you consider the 2015 Broncos?
I'm loving the argument in the chat about cheese and lactose
I know,
intolerance
that's pretty
people. And Professor Cake says, "Who the hell doesn't like cheese?"
Yeah,
Sorry to you
those who are.
lactose-intolerant freaks.
Let's go with a layers joke here. Those are who are intolerant.
yeah.
That's got layers. If you,
Yeah.
okay.
We're all
one's
about
got
tolerance in this party. Okay.
Yeah. Lactose. Okay.
A-Fam Rolf. That is an
We don't-
interesting name.
We don't tolerate
gosh.
intolerance.
To
This
cheese.
chat is getting out of control.
I know. It's great.
I can't even. I'm so far behind trying to find.
Where did we land?
We're still running the ball. All
Where
kinds
did we-
of stuff.
Where did we land on the 2015 Broncos?
They were a defense.
Defense. Yeah.
Okay.
Defense only.
Okay. Okay.
Basically Iowa from last year.
Yeah. That offense was a carcass for sure. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Serviceable running back.
Just going through the comments.
These comments are wild.
Yeah, dude.
Harry cheese. If you put it right in the breadbasket, doesn't matter the wide out catch radius. Sort of. I was watching a highlight
Unless
reel
you're like
that,
Quentin Johnston or something.
that a friggin' idiot Bears fan had put together of Jordan Love incompletions, and like 2/3 of them were it hit the receiver right in the chest and the receiver dropped it. But the whole point of the video was not like, hey, these receivers stink. It was, look how bad Jordan Love stinks. I don't know.
MVS had no cat. That's hilarious because it's
They'll
true.
never
The guy was a
accept it.
monster. By the
He was
way,
like a
we
T-Rex.
eclipsed 800, so thank you to everybody that's hanging
Wow.
out.
MVS was a T-Rex.
It's the most ridiculous. I don't understand the MVS.
That
thing
Monday
at
night
all.
against the Eagles for MBS, man. That's gonna be forever burned into my brain.
If you're on,
Where Chiefs fans just lost their minds. They're like, "What? How could you not catch that?" Packer fans are like, "First time."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Packers fans are just like, drink.
there you go.
True.
Now we're really gonna get into the off the rails.
They release
Let's
Preston
go.
next year.
Let's go.
Green Bay's number one need will be defensive end.
Heck yeah.
I don't know about that.
Talk to me. What are we? What
I
are our
really
options
like-
here?
You want
I
another
really
LVN?
Rashawn and Lucas and Kingsley. I like all three of those guys. And then you got
You want
Carl
another-
Brooks, who I think should be a defensive end.
Do you
I don't know,
want
man.
another
But
Lucas
that's-
Van Ness on the team?
But that's not really the question.
He's got a point
question?
there.
The question is, if that is, I mean, it was directed at Jake, so I have to assume we're looking at 2025 for some options.
It's time.
Are we talking what? Patrick Payton, Jake Sawyer, Nick Scorton.
Jack Sawyer.
You want
Jack
another LVN. Landon Jackson is 6'7", 282 at Arkansas. Just massive individual over there.
We are definitely going to go a full second hour if we let Jake go through the 2025 draft.
All right.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. I think it's a fair question to say, what will be our biggest need next year? Because obviously, I'm
Long
looking at
snapper.
offense. I'm looking at offensive line.
Yeah, interior offensive line. Would
I mean, our biggest need this year was guard, and they didn't do anything about it. So
Can I make
Well,
a call?
technically they did, because it looks like Jordan Morgan is going to be a guard.
I would like to make a
I think
call.
he's going to be a good guard.
I don't know, but
I think we had better options available for playing a guard. I think that they just need a job for Jordan Morgan, and we don't have a guard.
we'll see. It feels to me like an Elton Jenkins situation, where you keep thinking, like, I wonder if he's going to do it, and he's just going to end up staying at a guard.
If all those guys that the Niners and Steelers drafted along the interior end up being good, and we end up like playing Travis Glover and he's no good or something, I'm gonna need some counseling.
Give him time. Give him a chance.
He
Give
definitely
Jordan
needs
Morgan
some
a chance. I'll give Jordan Morgan.
Give Jordan Morgan. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a stud.
First off, Prince Capsaicin, I didn't have them there, okay? That's where PFF puts them in the order, okay? I didn't adjust the order. We're not doing predictions out here. The mock was simply using the order that was presented to me. Okay? Okay? That's what PFF has on the order right now.
Ryan, the new comment came in and it scrolled, okay?
I just saw it and I'm like, well, that's not going up there in the comments, and it immediately goes up. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't.
It's not my fault. I was trying to click on Prince Capsaicin.
We had such a nice, clean
reading it
stream.
out loud.
Oh, man.
How do we? Let's see here.
That's
Put
funny.
user in timeout.
That's
No, last time I did that, it like permabanned them. And people
Yeah,
got
right.
mad. I'm not doing that again.
It's probably not a good idea.
Jason says that's my biggest concern this year. The center is a liability too at the moment. I mean, offensive line, hands down, is the biggest concern I have. Everywhere else along the entire roster, I feel very confident that we have enough. I don't really like our linebackers, but I also don't care about linebackers. So I'm fine with everything. I don't think we have a good offensive line, and I am nervous about that. And I think that a subpar offensive line holds this team back from accomplishing their goals. If we can get average, if we can have the 15th best offensive line in the league, I think we're fine. I think we have a shot at a deep playoff push. We need at least
I just
average.
think,
I don't know if we can get
and I know I contradict myself with the Jordan Morgan thing, but I feel like interior is going to be like a mid to late round thing. So if we're talking first round, I know we were going through this last year too, but it's got to be a tackle, like an official tackle, not like he's probably more of a guard, but you could play tackle. Like, get a tackle.
That's fair.
But I don't know if they're because like I don't know their stance on Rashid. It's such a weird situation.
I know, right?
Because it's like, is Rashid the guy? Are we calling him our new David Bakhtiari, or are we going to try to find somebody to replace him?
I mean, I think that they drafted Jordan Morgan to replace him, but then Jordan hasn't shown up in camp the way they needed him to, and so Rashid gets to keep his job. But Sean Ryan and Royce Newman together are still not competent enough to hold off anybody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we still don't know if Zach Tom's going to be able to play. So,
Yeah.
I would like to throw.
count me as terrified about Zach Tom's situation until we find out that he's healthy, because I just feel like we've done this merry-go-round with Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari over the last couple of years with, oh, no, don't worry. He'll be back like in like 8, 15, 30 days. He'll be back. Don't worry about it. He's fine. And then he never comes back.
Yeah, we play this game every year where it's like, oh, good, it sounds like it's not a big deal. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, well, it sounds like it should be any minute now. And then it's like, I don't know if he'll be there week 1. Like, I don't know exactly. And then by week 4, they come back, and they're not really ready. And you don't really see them fully back until week 10. It's just such a freaking nightmare.
I feel like it was like the concern once like Tom was kind of like clear, was like, oh my gosh, is Kraft gonna be okay? Is Kraft gonna be okay? And it might actually just be flipped, which it's also not a good thing at all. But
Yeah.
hey, maybe we'll make it back-to-back Arizona players in the first round next year.
Well, the
Offensive
rumor is
line,
we're going to
Arizona.
see Tom, tomorrow? And Kraft relatively soon. So we'll see if he's actually back.
Yeah.
Garrett says Newman couldn't back up a bathroom sink with 10 pounds of his hair. Newman has a lot of hair.
That's not a bad comment. I thought AFAM's comment was pretty good, too. When did Jonathan Ford start moving like a Mustang? It's pretty good.
Jonathan Ford had like a 0.98 RAS when we drafted him. The only time he'd ever had a good PFF grade was specifically blocking for field goals, which I think they've let him do 0 times since drafting him.
He had
But
the
apparently
one
in
big
year
defensive play
5.
at Family Night, though. You need to like smoke somebody in the backfield.
Apparently, in year 5, he's finally breaking out
That's
as
it.
a defensive tackle.
It was the it's the hilarious thing about this defense. It's like, well, we're gonna have our defenders get upfield, and you're thinking Wyatt, you're thinking all these guys.
It's
No,
Jonathan Ford and
it's been
TJ
TJ Slayton and Jonathan Ford who have been making plays in the backfield. What the heck is going on?
Professor
Saving all
Cake
of them
says
for-
we need an offensive line filled with guys who have 2 first names. We got a lot of them.
Prince Capsaicin said Ford looks svelterer, which would be he needs to be because what the heck?
Yeah,
He was such a big dude.
Yeah.
I don't watch superhero movies. They are too unrealistic. I only watch movies like Godzilla.
Heck yeah.
I haven't seen any of the Godzilla.
I've
was it-
seen basically all of them by now.
Really?
I can tell you which ones to avoid and which ones are worth your time.
Because -1 came out on like a streaming service, right?
-1 is so good.
What is -1?
Of course, the best one came out.
So it's a name that kind of only really makes sense in Japanese because it's a Japanese Godzilla that just has like subtitles.
Okay,
But it's just really, really good.
all right, fair enough. I just always assume those are really stupid, and I never want to watch. Like I've never seen a Godzilla. I just picture like a freaking climbing a building and holding a lady, and it's just like that's so stupid. I'm not watching that. But if it's good, it's good. Who knows? I'll try it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, those are the old ones, and they were pretty campy. Of the
Yeah.
new ones that they have been making over the last like 10 years, like half of them are really good, and half of them are a huge waste of time. But I've seen them all.
All right. Well,
I would
send me the
say,
list. I have a list of like 7 horror movies up in my tabs right now that I need to go through. So I'll rip through that, and then maybe I'll do a Godzilla thing.
I also want that list. So
Oh, we're gonna get into a PFF thing now. Here we go.
More interestingly, Too Old for This says if you have Apple TV, he recommends Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So that
What is that?
is a spin-off of the official movies. It's like the same actors, it's the same Godzilla, it's in the same universe. It's just a spin-off of it. I enjoy it. It's very slow moving though.
no.
So
I don't have Apple TV, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
I think you have to be a pretty big Godzilla fan.
Oh, King Kong, right? Yeah, King Kong was the holding the lady. Whatever. That's how little I give a crap about this, is I just conflate them all to be the same thing. Godzilla, King Kong. I was trying to think, what is the other one? You got Godzilla and what? And I'm like, oh shoot, I was picturing Godzilla as King Kong. Godzilla's like the dragon. King Kong is the Donkey Kong guy.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Essentially.
Too Old for This says Godzilla would have a 103 PFF grade.
I promise. Yeah, his pass
But
pro
he'd
grade
have
is insane.
a 0.4 RAS, so we wouldn't draft him.
It's true. That's true. He's too big to play on the
Although
offensive line.
it is relative athletic score.
That's true.
So-
At his
Oh,
weight
shoot.
of 600,
There's nobody else
40
in his weight
tons.
class.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot! Yeah,
No,
we'd have to run a
tall?
conversion
really
on that.
comp
300
for him.
feet tall.
Yep.
I
Height,
think
weight.
by default, he would have a perfect RAS, a 10.0.
If he can just move, he'd probably have a 10 RAS.
Hold on.
They
His
kind of
40 times got to be decent though, because the step is he's already there. It's like the 40
Let's-
times.
let's
actually-
pull it up.
Hold on.
Let's get the chart up.
RAS. I'm gonna custom RAS.
We got to try to figure out speed here, but as long as we can get his height figured. Hold on, you pull up RAS. I'll try to figure out his height and weight.
all right, Godzilla. So the other problem is that in every movie, he is bigger than the previous one.
Fair enough.
So
Oh my gosh, is the arm
So
length
he's
gonna be
in
insane.
Godzilla 2014. He stands at 354. In 2019, he's 393. So
he's
if we go 2019, he's 393 feet, and he is 99,634 tons.
type faster,
So-
Jake. Type
No,
faster.
What's his position? What position's he playing?
You could just call him a DT, right?
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
Long
College.
snapper.
Let's see if it'll tell me how fast he is.
Oh, wait, I
just-
need the hand size. What was the height?
His height is 393 feet.
Okay, so how the heck do I put this into this? It has to be in 4 digits.
Godzilla would make a
Here
great
we go.
offensive tackle. That tail could open up some huge holes.
In the Monsterverse, Godzilla's top speed on land is estimated to be between 40 and 50 miles per hour. I don't think
That's
we
like
need
a
to do this. I think
275.
it's a 10.
It's a 275.
However, during intense moments such as when boosted by nuclear energy, his speed could reach up to 100 to 200 miles per hour.
God, he probably can
They actually have
What
us
is
more
happening in
frequently
these
than you
movies
think.
that he has nuclear energy boosting him?
So the lore is that he eats radiation. That's
Okay.
I've seen
that
because
is
his vertical's probably horrible.
That is his energy source. He
Some
consumes
sources
radiation.
even suggest that in specific scenes he might appear to run at speeds around 200 miles per hour. His swimming speed is 40 knots. So there you go. If you need that, I don't know if there's a
this-
conversion in there.
This shuttle
It's
time's probably
inconsistent
bad.
from movie to movie how fast he
Okay.
can move, but in some of them he can really boogie.
Okay. I was picturing much slower. I was not picturing 200 miles per hour, but there you go.
So when I send you my list of the Godzilla movies, I'm gonna have like a word or two that kind of describes them. Like the first one's just gonna say like it's dark and depressing, and then there'll be the one that's this one's just really fun, and then there's one that's just gonna say stupid.
AFAM says he's a few standard deviations away from the mean.
He doesn't have super big. All right.
Godzilla at tight end, Thanos at running back, and Thor at quarterback. I'm out of my depth here a little bit, but this is
Would Thor be
pretty
allowed to
interesting.
fly?
What?
This is my mom in the chat. She's making fun of how we got derailed again.
Do you think Godzilla's vert is pretty good or no?
I don't know. You've
Well-
seen the movies. Does he jump and stuff? I'll ask.
Really?
Sometimes he
Not
fights
really.
flying creatures and he like jumps up and grabs onto them.
Okay,
Let's
so
see,
he does
how
have
high
some
can he
vert.
jump?
Okay, hold on.
Godzilla's jumping ability is often a topic of speculation. I love nerds so much that this has been a topic of discussion for sure.
Yes, man.
In some analysis, Godzilla's jump height is suggested to be 2,000 feet during training scenarios and approximately 800 feet in combat situations.
Training set. What the heck is a training scenario? I've seen all the movies. What is a training scenario?
I don't know.
Godzilla?
Specific instances. In fan discussions regarding specific scenes, there are estimates that suggest Godzilla can jump heights around 197 feet based on his air time during certain attacks. People are calculating this crap. This is the best
Well,
thing ever.
So there are whole YouTube channels that specifically revolve around trying to apply real life physics to
Sure.
I've got a card.
movies like this.
All right, let's get the card up. Share it with us.
Okay.
We have to post this on social media, by the way.
Here's the deal. I don't think
It's going
the
to get
shuttle
one
time's
like
great.
because our most interesting things that we put together on here
Okay.
that the chat loves,
Don't care. It's going up.
they don't like it.
Listen, the
Japan.
height.
It just says Japan.
Well, what do you want? What do you want it to be? I don't have any- There's nothing else I can put.
His
there.
agility
Even
grade
966
0.
Oh,
Huh?
geez.
It's because the agility grade is bad. I don't think he's very agile. But the problem is it's not super size adjusted here, so that's the issue.
He's a 10 everywhere except for somehow his
It
height.
wouldn't let me put in 300 feet for the height because it's a 4-digit system and I can't. It wouldn't let me put 300 and then 3 zeros after it. I don't know why it
Can you at
wouldn't let me
least
do
put
that.
9999 so that we don't have to look at this?
Yeah, it's fine. Hang on.
Jason says there's a subreddit called They Did the Math that has a bunch of these scenarios.
This has to be
I think
a
I've
10.
been on there before.
How's this not a 10? There we go.
Oh,
There.
Kent Lee Platt, fix
There
your
you go.
crap.
No, I got it. I put 5
Oh, okay.
nines. It works now. For some reason, you can't do. When you're 6 foot flat, you can put 6000, but I can't put 300 and then 3 zeros for some reason.
A fan wants to know thoughts on Finding Nemo. I have had Finding Nemo
Ads.
rants before.
All right.
actually,
Well, give us a mini one, I guess, because that's what AFAM wants.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been boycotting the Finding Dory sequel because I think that it's just the cheapest cash grab of all time. Why do you need a Finding Dory sequel?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but why would you make it? The only reason to make it is just, oh man, we really need some money. And are there any old brands that people used to love that we can drag back out of the closet and cash in on again?
I love that like if we just did a 30-second grab of this video, we have a Godzilla RAS with JJ ranting about Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Oh.
If this isn't a good marketing thing for Derailed, we need to put a compilation together, and you can do so many things from this one alone.
So much.
And just the market, it sells itself, right? Like the cheese party, Ed policy, a Trump debate with McAfee leading it.
Yeah.
Politics is WWE. Godzilla's got an elite
Godzilla
RAS,
definitely
not
failing the
best.
3-cone.
100%. Who's got a worse 3-cone? Godzilla or DK Metcalf? We don't know, but I would love to find out. Like,
Marked arm for arm length.
I feel like his arms aren't that long, so I had to.
Who knows?
It's got me wanting to put, like, what's a T-Rex's RAS? Oh, this is such a problem. We've gone off the rails in the best way, though.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
That is an annoyance to me that they just remake everything. But I think me and the kids enjoyed Finding Dory. Those seals.
I won't
picking on that other guy. You didn't watch it?
No, that's what boycotting means. You don't watch it.
Well, you can't.
This is true.
I don't know.
Too old for this.
I feel like you got to give it a chance and then see if you still hate it.
The whole point
I will say this though, there was
against the fact that they made it, not about how they made it.
Fair enough. I think was it Ellen DeGeneres who was in? I'm not asking you because you didn't watch it, but
she's the voice of Dory.
There is not Ellen. I don't know. Whatever. There's a scene in there where like she's communicating with the whale, and they have to talk in a certain way. That is super super freaking obnoxious. I do hate that part of the movie.
Yes, I know.
Really bad.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not even going to try to imitate it because it's so obnoxious. I refuse to do it.
In the first one or the second one?
Second one.
Okay, because they did that in the first one. It was fine.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Was it the same thing, Jake, or is it different?
The second one they definitely did more and a little too far, I think.
It was the
first one, it was kind of like, oh, okay, we did the joke, we move on quickly. So
Jason, I feel like Godzilla limits throwing lanes. I think you got a fair point there, Jason.
Help me out here. I'm trying to summarize.
Was good too. Does RAS account for the ability to breathe fire? It's like nuclear blast. Yeah, I feel like nuclear blasts should elevate the RAS here.
Garrett's not having fun. Sorry, Garrett.
So, all right. What were some of our other derailed topics we had today? So we had the cheese party, Jeff Janis for vice president, Godzilla's RAS, Finding Dory. What else?
What happened at the beginning? The way beginning.
Football.
Well, we started.
We did some. Oh, we got into the mint gum and what the ads were.
That's true. The ads was a big thing.
Yeah.
Mint gum got us going a little bit.
And mint gum at the beginning.
So. That's low hanging fruit. I feel like that's if you want to get us easily derailed. That's just every time. Just somebody in the comments throw out Tampax for whatever reason. That's just a thing. Isn't all cheese rotten technically? I think so. Some of it's real. Have you seen like some of the cheeses where they actually have like maggots and stuff in it?
Yeah, that's gross.
That's crazy.
We need to.
I'm good with mold, but not maggots.
Yeah, I just saw it recently. Like they cut it open and and then they like scrape some of the maggots out of the way and eat it. That's super nasty.
Horrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The real question is, so like the derailers, right?
Nice
like the listeners, right? They've kind of been like, oh yeah, our show, you know, during the week, and they go, okay, hour 45. this one must be good. They got way off the rails here, and they're going to be, I think, very pleasantly surprised by what went down.
Well, I was hoping we could cruise to 900. I don't know if we're going to get there.
Jason, come on, man.
I got it here. We got
Come on, man.
worst gum ads, political cheese party, Jeff Janis for vice president, Chiefs are a run first team,
Yep.
Alan Lazard, lactose intolerance, Godzilla's RAS, and finding Dory shouldn't have been made. I
Yep.
think that covers it.
I think so.
About it.
Yeah.
We probably should call it. What do you think?
I think we're coming out on top here.
Yeah. This was
All
good.
right.
I mean,
There was
they're
some
just
draft in there too.
there was a little draft. We tried
was.
to stoke that. I feel like that failed, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Well, we had
technically we got
people in
RAS.
chat
on
started
the screen.
complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to RAS though, so technically.
I mean,
Technically,
RAS is as draft as it gets.
Yeah. This is. Yeah. No. 100% too old for this.
All right, Nate,
That
you
got
are
us
the
way
derailer of the week. Congratulations.
You did it. Well
Very
done.
proud of you.
Well done.
The rest of the chat, you guys did a heroic effort
yes.
and
Some really good.
absolutely challenged Nate's
Mhm.
claim to the throne. No question about it. Ryan, give us a laughing at the Bears moment besides the fact that they had no
Oh,
offensive
boy.
line. Or just that one.
Yeah, I mean that would be a pretty good place to start. I will say I've been a little bit tuned out. They are bragging quite a bit about their quarterback, despite the fact that I have seen some pretty not heroic. I'm blanking here. Some really bad. Horrific is the one I was going for. Heroic. Good lord.
I've listened to
the
so many
opposite.
thousands of hours of you podcasting.
You know the
I
words.
know
Yeah.
which words you're trying to reach for.
Horrific is a big one. I was. Here's the thing. I was disappointed, but not surprised they wouldn't trot out their quarterback week one. Are they going to hide him? I feel like we're getting into a political conversation here. Are they just going to hide him from us the entire preseason?
I don't think it was gonna be. I don't think anybody would have taken it that way. But once
I'm
you
just
said it,
saying.
now it's burning.
I'm
in my
just
head.
saying we're tying it all together here with the politics.
Has
The
any
cheese
rookie
party.
quarterback played in the Hall of Fame game as like a presumed starter?
Listen, don't try to don't do that to me. We're keeping it political here. They're hiding Caleb from us. They're keeping him from the media scrutiny.
How many
And
days has it
I
been since he
think
had a press conference?
how many days has it been since we've heard from Caleb? How many days since we've seen that man
Hard to
play?
say.
I think they're hiding him from us. I think they're going to hide him until week one. Honestly, they might replace him. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if he's even the real quarterback candidate.
I have
Madunze
I have
thinks
the
birds
scoop.
aren't
I know
real.
what
We got to
happened.
ask him if Caleb's real, right?
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Yeah, I mean, has Caleb even played? I'm seeing a bunch of tweets from Chicago Bears media, which we know is fake news, that he's been looking great. But I feel like maybe he's not even playing. You know what I mean? Maybe they're looking to replace him already. We don't know. We need answers, and the Bears are not giving us answers, and I find that to be shameful.
Well, Chicago Bears or the Chicago sports media is basically like the White House press secretary. Their whole job is to come out here, not actually answer any questions, and just
for sure.
make sure that they're
Yep.
the quarterback and the organization
Which is
look great.
why we
bunch of
need to see him. I mean, this is some shameful stuff that he is not being put out, and I want by the official week one, I need to see Caleb. Otherwise, I think that I'm gonna declare that he is horrific.
I do have the inside scoop on what is going on with Caleb and
Okay,
why we're
give it
not
to me.
seeing him in front of the media.
Do it.
He chipped a fingernail. So until that grows
There it
out,
is.
he can
There it
get
is.
that repaired. There will be no media appearances.
You have just upset a lot of very sensitive people with that comment. I just want you to know. A
That
lot
is
of very
very- that
sensitive
is
people
very
do not like
inconsiderate.
that.
If those
How
people
dare
could
you-
read, they'd be very upset at what you
How
wrote.
dare you make fun of a grown man painting his nails? Shame on you. I'm
Well, it's
offended.
happened again. You've wasted another perfectly good evening. 2 full hours of it this time.
2
Listening
hours.
to
Well
us
done.
here on Packernet Derailed. On behalf of Nate, our derailer of the week, on behalf of
Godzilla.
Garrett.
on behalf of Godzilla, What did Garrett say?
Yeah, don't
Not
put
putting
that
it up-
up. Don't
not
put that
putting it up
Don't-
on the
Don't put that
stream.
up. Don't put that up. Don't put that up.
I didn't touch, and he's on
Quit trying to get
Facebook,
us
so nobody
canceled,
saw
Garrett.
it. He's the only
Yeah,
one
don't-
on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Nobody can see it.
Sorry, everybody. I'm not putting that up.
No.
In the words of the late great Mr. Ed Policy, go Pack.